Columbus. You might want to go across the, if you look at where this is, go across the river. I'm pretty sure this is on the east side. You might look at that big Masonic temple over there, okay? And I would be willing to bet if I look at the placard or the history of that statue that it was probably presented by the Masonic Lodge and the associations thereof, and was a gift in perpetuum, that it must be maintained in the location, and that is, of course, a gift, and therefore, once accepted, the contract is in place for it to stay right where it is.
Hey, Mark.
So I would recommend that everybody, hold on a second, caller. I would recommend that everybody do this wherever you are. Start getting hold of all these original. And what's cool is you can go after, typically this is where you can go after the mayor personally and go after any other party who's attempting to deface and or alter the contract and the statue. And this is beautiful because, again, tie their...
Another, is it true that the Hebrew scripture got African people in it in relation to my faith? That was
the statue that, no, that's, granted the city's fallen down, but you know what? They got to go after that, their statue, because that's part So they're towing the line for the Communist Party in America and for the kosher mafia running the country, the Jewish communists. And that's why they're doing this. And it's just one of many. So heads up, it is a big-ass statue. And I'd just be curious about, again, age. It's either from the 20s cycle, which I don't expect, or from the 1880s cycle when a bunch of statuary was paid for when there wasn't a depression or a recession going on. That's when this stuff was built. And then before that goes back to the founding of the city when the city hall was first being raised, this particular one, which is relatively modern, but not that modern. Anyway, caller, go ahead.
This is Mike from Ohio. Yeah, what's weird is at the same time, Columbus State University there in Columbus has said they're removing their statue, and I thought if they're really serious about hating on Columbus, that maybe they ought to change their name. I'm crying out loud, the college in the city's named after him, so change the name.
Yeah, Marshmallow.
I also talked to a friend who happened to be a Mason, and it's the first time he's really ever talked about it to me. He opened up and started on a bragging rant saying that he's a Mason and that him and his brother Masons confer in code and all this, and that they're talking around the country, and that they're just waiting for them to desecrate a memorial having to do with George Washington, and if they do that, then the Masons are going to step in and put a stop to it. And I thought, well, that's all well and good, but why is it just George Washington that you care about and nobody else? I don't know.
Right, Jefferson can get pissed on, which just happened, by the way, on the East Coast with Portland. And again, the thing about this is these historical statues represent, again, the past. Italy, Germany, contrary to what they say, well, they tore down all the communists. No, they didn't tear all of them down, of the communist stuff even. But what's interesting is Napoleon Bonaparte, real bastard, but we got to keep all his stuff up. The Louvre is still standing. Of course, now, with the latest political correctness wave, understand that the reason they're doing this is the only great art that's going to be of value. You'll think about this. Ohio, where you are, how many majestic pieces of art are there actually that exist, do you think?
Very few. I mean, I rarely encounter it at all.
And these are dynamic. So you got to understand that the pigs, the Jewish mob, this is what they're doing. They're going to slide these out of sight, and they're going to then steal them. And then down the road, they go into their private estates and the Jewish mob collections, like what happened with 2 or 3 of the characters that got caught here in the last 20, 30 years. Oh, come on, what's her name? Oh, no, I don't want to do it. The idiot stick. Oh, if I keep talking, I'll rattle it right off. Anyway, she has palaces. Huh? Madeline Albright, thank you. Madeline Hapbright, as I call her. Sorry about that. I was on this track and, got to do the lumberyard thing. Anyway, Madeline Hapbright has palaces in Europe. And everybody goes, what? But she was a secretary, she's a Jewish mobster, and she was operating inside with the U.S. government, but she's royalty. Wow, what a surprise. Who would have thought that? She has palaces in Europe. So she had her hairy arse sat down in one of the palaces, and they were giving this interview with this big, spacious main chamber in the background. And they put it out on television because it was a big brag about, well, first she pissed on America's face, and now she's making the tour of all of her moneyed estates, because she's a to-do. And, well, when they took the picture of the big chamber, it turns out that about half of the paintings that were in the background were all stolen art. They were all confirmed stolen art. And, of course, now all of a sudden, all these people who are with other royal families or estates pointed right at what they saw and said, hey, that's ours. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's ours. We've been kind of looking for that since World War II. And it was like, and of course, then they did damage control. Madeline didn't know that, all my ass. These characters, this is the same pillaging that they do. We got to shoot, like I said, shoot the ass behind the curtain. You see a bulge in the curtain when this thing starts? You shoot the bulge. You don't shoot the orcs in front of you right away. They're still, a couple paces out. You're going to turn and dump automatic fire on them. But you see that bulge in the curtain? You put 5 bullets at that, starting at about crotch level and work your way up. Estimate crotch level. Always shoot them in the crotch first. Make it hurt, okay? And that way, they'll understand that, oh, no, I didn't forget you. In fact, you were first on my mind. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get rid of your minions now. There we go. Got rid of them. Now back to you. Are you still bleeding? Still alive? Oh, let me talk to you. Hold still. Say hello to my little friend. It's a double-bladed knife, but very small. It will take hours. And you will tell me everything. See, that's where our problem is. If we don't put the kibosh to this is the rating. This is the first part of the rating and raping of America and the Red Terror. It's in motion. We've been talking about this. And this is just one example of many. But I'll tell you what. There are all these institutions. And the one thing we have are plenty of lawyers out there. And what's really cool is everybody is willing to fight over digits. That royalty that wanted their paintings back with Madeline Hapbright, They don't care about you and me, but I think it's great because I can get that, because their energy was spent attacking one of their fellow travelers because they're fighting over what they stole from, whoever. Now, in this case, this is a public thing. And, just because the shoe size IQ, dumb as a box of rocks, public fool products are frothing at the mouth and dancing in the streets, it doesn't mean that we should even listen to them. Instead, we should be mowing them down right now, just getting rid of them. Be done with them. That's all there is to it. Because it's not if, it is only when they're at your doorstep. And the government continues to acquiesce, but all the corporations, pretty much all the dirty whore corporations that tried to fake the American companies, that the American companies are still American, you might pay attention to their actions right now. They're doing the rest of that, which means those companies are gone from our mind in the long run anyway. They're just going to be scrubbed out. We're just going to be doing something else, but we're not going to be doing business with them because they won't exist. But as far as this goes, guys, I guarantee one group or another, and again, it doesn't make a difference, like, color, it could be the National Masons are waiting for a George Washington state. No, this is something that they own, they can do. The Lodge has plenty of lawyers. It's something that, if you really start pushing the spirit, in other words, with a rah-rah, it's like, well, guys, where are you? This was your work. This was your groundstone. You laid cornerstone. Where's the mortise? Where's the square? Where are you, brothers? Oh, yay. Oh, yay. Oh, yay. Come on down. You got to get, you want to get as much, feathers flying as you can.
That came from the old world into Brooklyn and the Bronx and other places that held on to the Hesed, the unbelievable attempt to engage in the Tikkun Olam, mending and changing of the world, motivated by compassion for the least of these, orphans and widows and fatherless and motherless, but was profoundly secular. So it tied to a high culture. It was always Dostoevsky and Tolstoy sitting in the background of secular Jewish culture. Right. Shostakovich and others, but very street too. You see that in the Bello novels. Street culture coming out of the ghetto, Montreal, Chicago, New York. We can go to Mela, we can go to Malamud, we can go to Philip Roth.
Anything, and this is stuff where a lot of the people out there, once you get it in motion, it's going to chew a new hind end or another bunghole in an enemy that you just want to keep them busy with something else. That way they don't have those resources, or they have to deflect part of their time to whatever it is that's going on. They do the same thing to you. Do it to them. Okay? Now, real quick, on the archways on the building, I want to point this out. University of Michigan, what was the old U of M hospital. When you go in the main doors, they put an overhang on that didn't exist before, and it was quite modern. It was really a good idea because they had a dry. Wait a minute. Hold on. Can you hold? Can you hold? And he stops, and he disappears. Another guy comes back to the phone and says, who is this? Oh, hi. That have donated millions, nay, tens of millions of dollars. It's a family institute. And there was a big to-do, obviously, when they built the hospital, because this is the entranceway archway. So they had to stop the schedule for the destruction of the whole complex, which, by the way, was covered like 4. Any individual thought this garbage up and then go from there. But I've seen this before. This is what I said. I've always, when I see something unique, I'm always interested in. Almost had that one, except again, then the brain did. Discovered that the arch was there. I always love this. This is how the peons and incompetent always, we're the producers. We're the ones who actually have attentiveness or any kind of brains. And the pissants that are hired because they're, Uncle Fred's cousin, and or they all went to college together, which, okay, that's how it works. But, actually came to more like almost $1 million by the time they were done, because they had to stop. And then that forced them also to survey the rest of the building, and they found 2 or 3 other donated structural components, in other words, monument-type construction, that had to be pulled from the building also, which is why the price went up for demolishing the building, because the demolition company had other places to be, but they were screwed because of the incompetence of the people who were surveying, supervising the exercise, which is kind of cool. It always happens. It's stupidity in government. You can expect it. It's not an if, it's just a when. Also, real quick, again, if you haven't seen it, now, of course, the discussion is that they're going to be attacking the Alamo. Wow, you mean the Mexican government again? No, the parasites. And so right now they're looking at how to reinforce.
You say, dang, this is interesting. You see, we got black ghettos too. Y'all got Jewish ghettos too. We got tied to high culture too. But we also rooted to the street too. And you can begin to the as a people is rooted in textual commentary. See, that's not true for black folk. Most of us couldn't even learn how to read till the 1860s. So it's a very different trajectory, but very deep, similar affinities in terms of the connections of being improvisational, high brow, low brow, a tremendous intellectual curiosity. I'm sorry to go on and on.
No, it's great. We talked about this with Nina Turner too, the black Jewish connection. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's rich. That's rich. That's rich. No, indeed.
The last time I saw you in person was a year and a half ago in Burlington, when just before Bernie was going to launch his presidential campaign, and it seems like it was a million years ago, but it really wasn't.
Was that the one that like?
Upset or trying to stop them from destroying it, or had filed suit against the government or an agency or something. I can't remember what it was for destroying a statue, but I just can't remember all the details. So
what's interesting is, again, you could go after, theoretically it could go. I believe right now what we're looking at, Soros obviously is outside the country, I assume, because otherwise he'd be dead if he was in America, because our government would kill him. I mean, he's involved in what now is obviously an open attack against the American people. Of course, I would like to know who all the other parties are that are involved in that, and I would say that our spying agencies, unless our spying agencies are with them on this, and the only way they could be getting away with this right now and all across the country is the FBI is in bed with them. The CIA is in bed with them, the NSA is in bed with them, and they're all globalists working together them. Because I've watched movie after movie going for all my life, and you know how it's futile to resist people because the government's always watching and they're always spying, and if anybody did something like this, they'd be just on you like white on rice. And they know how much money is moved, and they know where all the money is, and they know who did what, and now we're talking violence on the street, parts of the country being burned down. So I'm sure the CIA has sent hit teams to execute Soros here in the last few days at least, right? Tell me, has George Soros been executed by the CIA? Because they're supposed to be for us and protecting us right now. Did George Soros drop dead from a mysterious attack of lead poisoning, or did they send the SEALs in to get Soros? Let me ask you, Donald Trump, because all the rest are dead. Well, not all of them. Maybe there's one or two, but we'll say SEAL Team 25. Death from the bubbling water. Okay, there's their motto: death from the bubbling water. And they're going to smack in there, and they're going to show him videotaping, and Soros is sitting there in his lounge chair. He's in his underpants, scratching his belly, watching videos of himself, and they come in and they kill Soros, and they bag Soros, and they take him to the helicopter, and then they put him on an aircraft carrier, and they open the bag, and they go, oh, well, we don't want anybody upset, and then they'll just throw his body over the ass end of an aircraft carrier. I mean, we did have that happen, Phyllis, right? I mean, our CIA has done that for us with the SEAL teams, and Trump has done this to save America.
Hey, Mark, is today April Fool's?
Repeat?
Today April 1st?
Oh, it's close enough. I mean, right now,
okay,
I watch so much of this. Okay, I just, I'm just going through, like, right now they're trying to rehash all the stuff that would try to rabble-rouse. If you go, I don't even want to watch any of them now, any of the movie nets. It's just like a waste of time. I've seen one movie that looked interesting in the last couple of days, Arctic. If anybody gets a chance, it's called Arctic. It's really well done. It drops you right into a situation. Great movie. It's called Arctic. Watch it. By the way, it does give you a few hints about, survival. Okay, but there's one goof in the middle of the movie that wouldn't happen unless you're, again, maybe delirious from being tired. Cold and tired doesn't help you. But that's the only thing I've seen. Otherwise, now on all of the movie channels, you have Black Lives Matter, subject that pops up first. Everything you're doing, we'll piss on them. I'm done with them. Okay, I've got other things to do, and as it is, that's just a break in between for stuff. There's certain things, if I, like I said, you peruse them all. But when I'm looking at what's been regurgitated, it's all the garbage from the 69 to 1973 window, and that's not an accident. We've talked about this many times. This has to do with the stirring the pot garbage, and like I said, this is all a rewind of that period, guys. Only with frothing at the mouth, the rebel without a cause now is the rebel without a no brain, no gray matter, frothing at the mouth for the sake of just frothing at the mouth. They're idiot sticks across the board, and ain't nothing gonna. You're not gonna fix them. There's no retraining these turds. There's no fixing these turds. They're going to be if we were to win, they would be a burden on us for the rest of their lives, and we can't do that. We're going to have to deport them. I know what somebody else would be saying, but we'll just deport them when the time comes. However, in the meantime, they're dangerous. And what's fascinating is all the same propaganda that they pushed back then is the propaganda that they're trying to vomit out a second time. But the problem with that is that all the movies they show there, one of the things they kept instilling was it's futile to resist because you have cleanup teams and the government's going to come in and kill you and they're going to murder everybody in the house and they'll count the teacups on the table. They're so smart. And if they count the 6 bodies and 7 teacups, they're going to look for the 7th person. They're that smart.
Hey, Mark.
But apparently they can't do that with Soros or Bloomberg or any of these turds who are destroying the country. Isn't that amazing? So why am I going to be too worried about them? Except I need to know I need to shoot their ass.